Okay, well, imagine if it was vice versa, if women only got custody 10% of the time.
If women only got custody 10% of the time, well, there'd be no more free dinners, no more one night stands, and let's face it, there'd be no child support because women aren't going to pay.
A woman seeks child support from the person claiming to be the parent. However, the man denied his paternity and asked for a DNA test. The court emphasizes the importance of a thorough decision before deciding on legal obligations and advises both parties to do their due diligence. This situation shows how powerful and dangerous family fraud can be, where men can be forced to support children that are not theirs. In addition, it shows how lenient the legal system is towards women in paternity matters. In the past, courts have often taken a stand on a woman's claim without proper justification, placing a burden on the accused. Although DNA testing has greatly reduced these crimes, more awareness and procedures are needed to prevent family fraud.
Sperm donors have to pay child support. So me and my girlfriend decided that we were going to go find a donor and have a kid that way. And after that, my girlfriend and I stayed together for about 3 more years, and then we broke up. My girlfriend never signed the birth certificate of our child, so she never became the parent of our child legally. And so when we broke up, she said that she had no legal obligation to this child and she didn't want to be the parent anymore. Of course, I was like, whatever, that's fine. Just give me, some child support. And she said, did you not hear me? I have no legal obligation to this child. I'm not going to pay child support. So now I'm trying to get the sperm donor to pay child support because biologically he is my daughter's parent. So I want him to give me his half. Of course, they're refusing to give me his contact information, so I don't know what to do at this point. But I just think it's really messed up that somebody can just go donate sperm and then have nothing else to do with the kid that comes from it.
Trying to get this man to pay for her to live in Florida, and it totally backfired on her majorly.
Like, what's going on?
Well, I currently pay $880 a month for child support.
Okay.
I also pay $362 for health insurance. And I see my kids every maybe like 4 times a week.
Okay.
I see them pretty often. And she's trying to take my kids and move off to Florida.
Okay.
And, Your Honor, I'm not going for that.
All right. Did she tell you why she was trying to move to Florida?
Because she just want to live her best life.
She said that?
That's what it is. She want to go to the beach, drink coconut balls or whatever they have out there in Florida, and just have her best life.
Okay, wait a minute. So did she actually tell you that, or are you interpreting her as living her best life?
Your Honor, why would anybody else want to move to Florida? That's Paradise City.
Well, I mean, I kind of want to move too, but I can't go.
You know what I'm saying?
Because I got to work. So could it be for a job?
You know, Your Honor, I haven't asked, because when she told me that she wanted to move to Florida, I got so upset about the fact of losing my kids that I was like, are you moving to Florida for like vacation time or just so you can live your best life? Or because we in Texas, I'm in Texas. I'm a good dad.
So what did she say to that when you said, are you trying to move to Florida to live your best life?
She said, you shouldn't have messed up.
What did you do?
It's a long story, Your Honor. I could tell you how we split up, but I kind of messed up.
Well, I have time. Do me a favor. Do me a favor. I didn't even realize you had gum in your mouth till you start smiling. You know, I don't allow gum chewing in here.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Oh, it's okay. You can just put it to your back of your throat.
Yes,
I'm not going to tell you to swallow it. I don't think that's really healthy.
Yes, ma'am.
But I have time for the story when you're ready, after you.
It's to the back right now, Your Honor. No more chewing for me.
Okay.
So,
continue.
Long story short, I met this lady our freshman year of college.
Okay.
And we were in class, and she was sitting in the front, I was sitting in the back. And I saw her, and I said, man, I'm going to have to put my bid in as soon as class is over.
Bid, that's what they call it these
days.
Yeah, okay.
we call it put your bid in. Because,
right.
I'm sure it's other people that put their bid in, too. So if I got the highest bid, of course, I'm a getter, you know.
Oh, so you subcontracting these things now?
I was, yeah. At that time, I was subcontracting, you know what I'm saying?
Interesting.
Right.
Keep going.
So I saw her in the hall, and I came to her, and my bid won. And we was together for years, Your Honor. We were together for years. We have 2 kids. We have a 5-year-old and a 10-year-old.
Okay.
Throughout the time, and as life just went on, we just started kind of fading, Your Honor. I'm a coach. I'm a football coach at a college.
Okay.
And one of the cheerleading coaches kept hitting on me. And I kept rejecting her.
So you put a bid on her too?
She put the bid on me, Your Honor. Oh. Yeah, she put the bid on me. So I gave in to that bid. She had a high bid. And at the time, my lady, she wasn't putting no more bids on me. She wasn't cooking me dinner. She wasn't massaging me like she used to. She wouldn't even let me watch sports on Sundays, Your Honor, because she wanted to watch The Bachelor. So it just wasn't working. And I gave in to what was going on, and I messed up. She saw my phone. She saw that I was with her a few times, and she left me, Your Honor.
But this is a
Every day, new videos emerge capturing the heart-wrenching stories of men embroiled in legal battles over child support for children they discover aren't biologically theirs. These cases highlight a persistent and troubling trend of women falsely accusing men of paternity to secure financial support, perpetuating a cycle of deceit and injustice. Despite years passing, the prevalence of such incidents remains alarmingly high, casting a shadow over the credibility of the legal system's handling of paternity disputes. In these ongoing sagas, men find themselves ensnared in a web of deceit, facing the daunting prospect of supporting children who bear no genetic relation to them. These videos serve as stark reminders of the vulnerability men face in paternity matters and the devastating consequences of paternity fraud. As these stories continue, they highlight the urgent need for systemic reforms to address the areas where these wrongdoings can be perpetuated.
So, you don't want her to move to Florida,
No, ma'am.
all right? And you want your child support reduced as a result if she does move? Or
Well,
do you just want it reduced just because?
I just want it reduced just because.
Okay, got it.
I feel like I know dudes that don't see their kids ever and they not on child support. I see my kids multiple times through the week and I'm paying $880 a month.
Okay. Fair enough. I believe I have majority of what I needed. Okay, is there anything else you wanted me to know before I move over to her?
No, that's about it, Your Honor. That's
Okay.
about it.
All right. All right. Ma'am, and give me your last name.
It's Adams with two D's.
Adams with 2 D's. Okay. All right. Mrs. Adams or Miss Adams.
Thank you.
Okay, Miss Adams. So tell me about, so this story that he told, he actually, you won the bid, or he won the bid.
Well, I think that tells you everything you need to know about his view of relationships is very transactional.
Oh, yeah. That's the word I was looking for. That's it. Transactional.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
very much I do this and you do that, and I think the fact that he didn't even bother to mention our children's names should tell you everything about our relationship.
Well, he told me the ages.
Yeah, well, that's great. Robert and Madison, that's with a Y.
But she ain't asked for the kid.
Okay, yeah, I get it. Anyway, so going back to, evidently I'm just going to Florida for a permanent vacation. I'm actually going for a job.
All right.
So what's that job?
Robert, and I'm going to be a marine biologist.
That's a good job.
When this dream come apart? Because you ain't had this dream when we met.
See, exactly. Do you ever listen?
Miss Adams, Miss
sorry.
Adams, I need you to talk directly to me, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Morris, I've given you an opportunity to speak. Let me hear what she has to say.
You're right,
and
Judge, I'm
people
sorry.
can change dreams. I mean, depending on how long you guys have been apart, a lot could have changed in her life.
It's just she taking my kids, Judge. It's
Okay,
just-
well, let's hear what she has to say.
You're right, you're right.
She said marine biologist, right?
Yes.
That sounds like a really good job, and I want to hear about it. See how much money she makes.
She just
marine biologist. she has to go to college for that, and I think a little bit of grad school. She is not going down there to be no biologist.
Just having random dreams, Judge, but it's all
Okay,
good.
that's great, but I need to see how much money she's making.
Right.
Okay?
I'm sorry.
All
Your Honor.
right.
So, look, the fact of the matter is, I guess he doesn't realize that his children are going to need to eat, whether they live in Texas or they live in Florida. And
That's
they're
true.
And they're going to need new tennis shoes and new clothes. And I guess he just thinks that money goes on trees, or that kids just eat for free. It's not how it works. This isn't TGI Fridays. So the cost of living is going to be higher in Florida.
All right. What are we looking at?
So my rent is going up from $2,000 a month to $2,800 a month.
Okay.
Because I have to have a 3-bedroom because Robert and Madison need their own bedrooms. And of course, I have to pay for flood insurance and other things like that.
Okay. All right. And you mentioned food.
Yeah. So the kids eat organic.
Okay.
And they're vegan. And so my grocery bill for them is already close to $800 a month.
Okay.
So his opinion that $880 is too much for the kids is wrong. It is a wrong opinion, because your children deserve the nutrition they need to grow up big and healthy and strong so they can be college athletes like you want them to.
Okay, so Miss Adams, you said that your rent is going up $800.
Yeah.
You have to pay flood insurance. The children's diet, they eat organic food and they're vegan. Okay, so are you using the child support for flood insurance and rent too, or are you using it to feed the kids? I just want to make sure I'm clear on what it is that you're saying in regards to his request to get a reduction.
Yes, Your Honor. So the thing is that if I was living in a 1-bedroom because I was by myself, my rent would be a lot lower.
All right.
But I have to get a 3-bedroom because I have a boy and a girl, and I don't want them sleeping in the same bedroom.
Yeah, I can see that.
So I have to get a 3-bedroom, and so it's not just that. It's my electric bill. It's cell phones, because our 5-year-old has a cell phone. So now I have to make sure that we've got her a phone line so you can talk to her dad so he can see her 4 times a week on FaceTime.
So about that, he said that he sees the children now 4 times a week, and you're saying that's not true, except for like a FaceTime video or something like that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
When it comes to 1-year-old Dante Pierre, you are the father. Case of 2-year-old Miracle James, you are not. She begged that man to take off the condom. In the case of 7-week-old Andrew, Trevin, you are not.
Okay, Miss Canada. All right. You brought this case before the court. What's going on?
I'm seeking child support and back pay from this man.
Okay, just straightforward. That's what I like. Just get right into it. How old is the child?
The child is now 3 years old.
3 years old.
And I have not received any child support.
In 3 years?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Sir, is there a reason you haven't given her any child support in the past 3 years?
Yes, ma'am, there is.
What is that?
We've been discussing the paternity obligations.
Okay.
Under the circumstances, you know, I don't think I was the only person having a fling with Rocky at the time that you know, she and I had that time together. And,
Excuse me? Are you implying something?
Well, what I'm trying to say is that I understand that you may have been seeing some other people in addition to me. And the reason that I haven't provided
well, those are rumors.
I understand that. I understand that. But you haven't complied with my request for DNA test either, and that's my key. Is that if I have an obligation, I like to make sure it is my obligation and not the obligation of some other father.
Well, maybe you should have been obligated to your wife whenever you were having an affair with me.
You know, you're right about that. And honest
So
truth
you are
that,
admitting that you're married?
yes.
Okay.
And I've told her. I've told her that we had this fling.
You didn't
told
tell
your
me you
wife
were
that?
married until after.
That's correct. That's correct. I did not tell. So, you know, from my perspective, Your Honor, I certainly understand the situation. I'm not trying to be hard-hearted, so to speak, about this, but I think that there's some other questions that need to be answered before we agree on paying any kind of support, because at this point, we haven't confirmed whose child this is.
Okay. Well, I definitely have some questions too, but I don't think they have anything to do with child support. It's more about you guys' backstory, but that has nothing to do with me. However, has this man taken a DNA test at all?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Did he sign anything at the hospital?
No, he wasn't
acknowledging that he was the father? Okay. So he does have a valid point. Before we can actually place him on child support, he either has to accept parentage, which, according to what I'm hearing, you're really not accepting it.
He's in denial about his affair and doesn't want his wife to find out.
My wife knows.
Oh,
Yeah,
she
right.
knows now.
I know he's lying.
You told her?
I would have heard from her by now. I work with him, ma'am.
Oh. At the welding place?
I'm a receptionist there. That's how we met.
You're her direct manager. Oh, okay. Ooh, wasn't expecting that much tea this morning. Yeah, he's entitled to a DNA test.
Sure.
Okay, so before we can move forward with anything in terms of child support, looking at your financial documents you provided, he first needs to get a DNA test. So what I can do is you guys go and get the DNA test, then you can come back at a later date, possibly, if he's the father. If he's not the father, you're more than welcome to bring back as many people as necessary. I'm not implying by any means that what he's saying is true.
Right, he's
but if
definitely
he's
the
not
father.
the father, you can bring back as many people as necessary to get DNA testing, and we actually find the father and place him on child support.
Well, I know who it is, so that's not necessary, but thank you.
Okay. Is there anything further?
Your Honor, can we get your assistance in having this thing compelled so that we can get this DNA testing done expeditiously?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. And it will be done through the Attorney General's office.
Okay.
Because they are actually on site in the courtroom, and it will be in the courthouse rather. And it will be much easier and free to you all to go ahead and use their resource. Okay? If there's nothing further, you all are dismissed.
Thank you.
Rocky?
You're welcome.
If I have obligations here, I'll stand behind them.
I appreciate that.
The widespread distribution of these recordings highlights a larger social problem by illuminating the power imbalances and inequities that characterize family law and relationships. They raise ethical concerns about the use of kids as pawns in legal battles, as well as the wider ramifications of unbridled dishonesty in court. The more times this cycle is repeated, the more clear it is that significant reforms are required to protect the rights and dignity of all parties, male or female, involved in paternity issues. In today's world, women have learned to use a variety of deceitful strategies to extract financial payments from males, and one of their most effective tools is child support. Men being forced to provide financial support for children who are not biologically theirs is depressing. It is a sign of the widespread greed and selfishness that some modern women display. This unsightly practice of exploiting defenseless children as pawns in financial disputes is highlighted by the misuse of child support as a tool for obtaining money.
And you pulled this stat that women do, men pay 85% of child support after divorce. 85% of the people paying child support are men.
There you go.
That's because most of the time the women are the caretakers of the kids and they take the kid. Of course
That's the
they're going to.
point.
father to the child in question today, 2-year-old Angel Bryant, were basically stolen from you. You've had doubts about paternity from the beginning.
The defendant seems to have a perfect story on why there is a paternity doubt. But there's one dark secret about the payment of child support.
You admit to sleeping with another man while with Mr. Green, but say you're still positive he is Angel's father because the other man used protection. That both men are currently paying child support.
The relationship between the parties seems reasonable, but Judge Lake wants to understand how they met at first.
I meet her was New Year's night from the club. I took her home, then we just talked for a little bit, changed numbers. We did not sleep together, this was about 3 months later. So we first had sex around May.
During the relationship, the defendant was mainly unfaithful, which compounded the paternity doubts.
He knew I was talking to someone, but I told him we broke up, but I was still talking to him.
All right, so you basically lied and told him you weren't talking to the guy anymore, but you were.
Yes.
And you weren't just talking to him. You were still having sex with him, too.
Yes.
The plaintiff claims he thought the defendant was single when he met her. He would not have continued with the relationship if he had believed otherwise.
Pregnant.
I got sick. I had gallstones, and also, congratulations, you're 9.5 weeks pregnant.
Really? She was the first person you called?
Yes.
And so what was your reaction? Were you happy?
I just couldn't believe it.
The plaintiff has never had another child despite being 54 years old, and he hopes the DNA results will prove that he is the father of the defendant's child.
If I'm supposed to be the child's father, I would have been there at the time of birth, and also my name would be on the birth certificate, Your Honor.
The plaintiff is furious that the defendant never called him at the time of birth. She also denied him the right to have his name on the birth certificate and now receives child support from the plaintiff and another man.
The dream that a child was being born, and I called the emergency room. Sure enough, they told me that Miss Duncan was in the emergency room.
During my pregnancy, this other guy, he stepped up and he was with me through my whole pregnancy.
The parties then started going back and forth on who was at fault for the plaintiff's absence at the time of child.
This concludes our A4 anonymous coverage for the day. Click that like button, please. Make sure you hit that notification bell in addition to subscribing. Leave a comment telling us what you think. Have a great day tomorrow.